Hello there, English speakers, and welcome to the gas chamber here in Ljusdal. So you can see it's complete with the chimney that is not attached to the actual gas chamber, and we have improved the doors. They are now metal and glass instead of wooden doors. Unfortunately, this is not going well. We have a lack of juice, so we don't produce very many of the lampshades and soaps here, unfortunately, but we do have a special offer. So now all you Jews that want to come and visit here, this is much better than Auschwitz, I will promise you that. And you get free shipping for your lampshade and for your soap that you can send to your Holocaust surviving friends. So that's great. Come to Ljusdal and the gas chamber here. But let's start by starting the new year with a big, deep breath. As you know, I am Swedish, where Ljusdal and the gas chamber is situated. And I can understand that our flag with a big cross on it is a little bit offensive. So you know that these heathen Romans, on the order of the Pharisees, they were actually nailing Jesus onto a cross. And if you are a Muslim and you really appreciate Jesus, then of course a cross would be offensive to you. So sorry about that, but the cross actually doesn't mean that we want to nail Jesus to a cross again. That you have to find in the Judenstern on the Israeli flag that symbolizes that. So this year we will produce solutions without asking the government for permission. That is way better than trying to vote harder, and even better than trying to change people. That didn't go well as we wished. And I do not expect that all these vaxxers, I don't expect them to praise me. But I do demand that they beg for forgiveness. They were calling me a tinfoil hat and all sorts of evil things, and I want a big fat forgive me from them. And of course, the true criminals, the ones who were not fooled, they need to be isolated. Or, you know, we have a chamber for people like that. Swedish men, whom are we related to? So men and women tend to spread genetically in very different ways. I just looked at about the Bulgarian DNA, and they have a few Bulgars, that is Turkic people, a few, 1% of them, the men in Bulgaria are from Turkic people. But generally the women are Thracians, not even Slavic. Many are Slavic, but most of them are actually native from pre-ancient times there. But Swedish men, we are of course mostly related to Danish people and Norwegian people. And we are not so related to Finnish people, actually, despite that we have been one country for thousands of years, almost. But the Finnish population in Finland, the Swedish population in Finland is pretty separate. So, for example, Swedish men are more related to Austrians and Swiss men than we are with Finnish men, and we are even more related to Estonian men than we are with Finnish men, and we are the least related to Greek, and of course even less to the Turkic men. But otherwise it's the Central European men. We are closely related to Icelandic men, but I assume that our women aren't related to the women there, because the women on Iceland usually came from Ireland. That is very different when it comes to men than Sweden and Scandinavia. So interesting to look at the history, and then you know which kind of men are, well, similar to yourself, I guess. Ryan, one of my followers, he has some tip about how to use AI and different kinds of them. So he uses ChatGPT as a thinking partner to analyze, well, reasoning stuff. And Cloud, I haven't used that, is good at clarity and tone, so you can calibrate those sort of things. Gemini is good for comparing with, basically, and it's also great for a sanity check. If I see some fake news, Gemini is great to explain that, yeah, this is totally fake news, or this is actually true. For example, that the Metropolitan Police are trying to expose Freemasons. I thought that was fake news, but it wasn't. So that is Gemini good for. And Grok is great for rapid signal scanning. And of course, if you have an ongoing discussion on the censorship platform X, then of course Grok knows about it and can tell you about the absolutely latest stuff. Speaking of the censorship platform X, Musk linked to a video about a girl that's upset that she followed all the rules, and then the Jewish criminals are destroying her life, just like they do with me on X, and banned my Premium Plus account. And the Jews, of course, want totalitarian society. They pretend to fight for freedom of speech, like G.D. Vance and Marco Rubio. But Marco Rubio, he wants to sanction stuff like Amazon, because Amazon was publishing a book, or are still, I hope, Francesco Albanese. And Francesco Albanese is detailing the companies that profits from Israel's genocide. And that is not something that the Chavos Goy Marco Rubio wants. We need to get rid of these disgusting communist Jewish supremacists. They need to be fought everywhere. Iran. There are a lot of demonstrations there, and I will nuance that. Is this some sort of color revolution? Of course, we know that the enemies of Iran, they want to see Iran turn into a smoking ruin, and they will help all sorts of terrorists to do terror, not to change the regime, but to destroy Iran. I have warned all Iranians that I do understand, and I know that they do want some better leadership that are not idiotic, looking kind of mullahs. They do not like them, but they also understand that the enemies of Iran do not want to help the Iranian people. That's not the thing. So it is real, but I do recommend that look at the communist, the woke, society-destroying leftists in the Western world. They took the long march through the institutions. So they infiltrated everything with wokeness and communism, and now everything is rotten. The Iranian people can do the exact same thing, but of course not to spread toxic crap and destroy society, but with good people that can actually, know what they want and know how to make Iran great again. And as they are more competent, well-educated, and if they have a good national socialist kind of view and will work together for the common good, then they will take over eventually. And why I really do not think that this is some sort of foreign orchestrated protest is that Mossad said that Mossad is totally for these demonstrations, and they will support the demonstrators in Iran. If Mossad says that they are supporting something, they aren't. So that is a good sign, at least, for Iran. Mr. Raven, talking about National Socialists, he warns us about all this Jew Nazis, the CIA Nazis. So they take people that kind of likes the imagery and the wording of National Socialism, and then they distort it. I can remind you about the Scofield Bible. They worked really, really hard to turn the Bible into Jewish garbage. And they sort of succeeded. I don't think, if you actually study those Scofield Bible notes, they are obvious, Satanism and not related to the Bible in that way. But if they can do that with the Bible, imagine what they can do with National Socialism, what they can do with all sorts of pagan or heathen religions and other things. When I listen to music, and this is good, this is like the Asgard gods and stuff, that sounds amazing, and then you just it smells like a very big nose has been in there and perverted those things. So sometimes you can hear heavy metal that are actually singing about the devil and stuff, and they are actually anti-Satanists, while things that might appear to be something else, but it's just Jewish infiltrated garbage. So be aware. I heard someone saying that this ass, the donkey that the Democrats have, that they have turned the stars upside down so that they look like Satan. But they haven't. No, it's the elephant that you can find. So if you do an image search, half of the elephants have the stars upside down, where you have two. Instead of having two, legs at the bottom, you have one leg, which symbolizes the beard of Satan. So that's weird. And I tried to look at GOP.com and see what their official logo there looks like. I can't access that. Access forbidden. Their site is not working, at least not for me in Sweden and according to other sites that are checking it. So I have no idea how the Republican Party can have a web page that doesn't work. That's bad. Texas has won. The greatest state for Israel in USA. So the most Zionist-occupied government. Last year it was, or the year before last year, in 2024 it was Florida. Now it's Texas. Everything is run by foreign Jews. And of course they start to produce articles about this horrible Muslim 200-acre thing. Why? Because they do not want to be seen as the most Jewish occupied state. They also do want to show it off, and they have Israeli flags exactly everywhere. So that's sad. Joel Davis from Fight Back podcast. He is now held in isolation in Australia because he was posting something on Telegram. So these are the satanic Jews that need to be isolated, all of them and their slaves. But he warns, or he explained in a short video that I linked to, about how the Jews destroyed the West, as you might need some reminding about, or your friends maybe. Centradel, that's a company, and they are developing automatic turrets. And these turrets are some sort of machine gun, and they can gun down drones very efficiently, very cheaply. So we'll see more of that sort of stuff, I think. And of course, that is something that you absolutely want on a modern battlefield. So you have some cool videos that Zero Hedge has published. And finally, yesterday here in Sweden and in many places around Europe, we are watching Cheerio Miss Sophie. The skit is called Dinner for One, or the Countess and her butler, as we call it in Swedish. And they are very British, very English, but it isn't English. And you can notice that because it's about a drunk butler. That's the funny part. And English people, and definitely not American people, they don't find drunk English butlers funny. Who would fund this? It's German TV, West German TV in 1963. So it's in black and white recorded. They have made a newer version, but it's, not interesting. So this is the original, and it's about an old noble lady that have lost all her friends. So the butler has to pretend to be them. So it's pretty sad, one might think. The introduction, I linked to the German introduction to this sketch, and it's a little bit sad, but then it becomes hysterically funny if you do have German humor. And apparently German men are pretty similar to me, unlike, British men that are really funny if they are drunk, but not for other English people, I think. But if you are English or American, do you find that sketch funny as we find it and watch it every year? So with that, cheerio, every one of you, and have a nice, good new year. And welcome to Ljusdal to watch the gas chambers if you want.